When I put up that video today on that mayor putting all those, giving herself all that power, dictator power, she said it looked familiar, like she had seen it before, like maybe in the Patriot Act, and no, she didn't. Here's what the executive orders are. Executive orders are laws established by the United States presidents. These laws are not passed by the House or the Senate, and it creates an end round clear around the Constitution. These laws begin as an executive order, which are simply printed in the Federal Register. After 30 days, these orders become law and carry the full impact of any law passed in the United States Congress. These laws are unconstitutional because the Constitution does not afford any person the right to create laws by himself that negates the Constitution. To understand just how this would come about, you need to open your eyes, your mind, and your heart. What we have discovered is quite scary, very much unconstitutional in every sense, act of treason to the United States of America. There are individuals in this world, within this country and within our own government, who would like to rule the world. And they do believe it is possible. Yeah. They are and have been working towards this goal for decades. Some of the individuals caught up in this endeavor have been our very own elected officials. These power-hungry individuals have corrupted our government and are working on sabotaging our freedom by destroying the Constitution of the United States in order to establish the new world order. To bring about this new world order and ultimately the single world government, there are several things that must come about. All other forms of government throughout the world must cease to function, and thus the countries would become bankrupt. Because our Constitution is a document that safeguards the sovereignty of our nation, it must be destroyed. Because of the genuine threat of the American militia, the American people must be disarmed. And they have to become addicted to the government handout and thus become sheeple. The American people have become so accustomed to their freedoms and their constitutional safeguards that affords them that they have paid little attention to what could happen around them. The international establishment has planned this, and they are working to use this weakness to erode our freedoms and take control of the United States. Sorry. It's like the war on drugs. It's the guise the federal government used to legitimize the invoking of martial law tactics under the Drug and Crime Emergency Act while they continue to covertly import the drugs and weapons they claim to be fighting. The guise conveniently speculates the total disarmament of all weapons, public and private, as mandated by the United Nations. Without the complicity of the federal government, crime of this magnitude could not exist. These executive orders and other treasonous acts establish the basis for the Federal Emergency Management Association. FEMA has the power to completely rule over the American people anytime the President should decide to declare martial law. If this should ever happen, the Director of FEMA, an unelected official, has the authorization to enact all executive orders giving him full dictatorship control over the United States, its resources, and its people. Martial law suspends all prior or existing laws, function system, and programs of civil government and replaces them with a military system. These systems include courts, mail, sanitation, aviation, firefighting, police, agricultural services, health, education, and welfare. The American people and all their belongings become chattel to the FEMA and the United Nations peacekeeping forces, which will be absolute control of the country. Sounds a bit preposterous? Yes, but there are individuals who feel so secure that what they are doing to gain this control, that they have indeed set themselves up above the law or perverted the nature of the law into new laws to protect their conspiracy. So remember this, people. Laws that are made in secret are a threat to each of us and must be rescinded if we are to remain a free people. There is evidence of all of this if you just seek and find the truth. Now here's what the president's, I want to see here. Inspired by a few of our presidents to rule over, not to serve. Okay. Now, excuse me. 10995, seizure of all communications media in the United States. 10997, seizure of all electrical power, fuels, minerals, both public and private. 10998, seizure of all food supplies and resources, public and private, all farms and farm equipment. Seizure of all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks, or vehicles of any kind, total control over the highways, seaports, and waterways. 11000, seizure of all American people for their workforces under federal supervision, including the splitting up of families if the government has to. 11001, seizure of all health, education, welfare facilities, both public and private. 11002, empowers the Postmaster General to register all men, women, and children in the United States. 11003, seizure of all airports and aircraft. 11004, seizure of all housing and financial authorities to establish forced relocation designations, areas to be abandoned as unsafe, establish new locations for population, relocates communities, builds new housing with public funds. Seizure of all railroad, inland waterways, and storage facility, both public and private. Provides the Office of Emergency Planning complete authorization to put all the above orders into effect in times of increased international tension or economic or financial crisis. Signed by Bill Clinton, June 3rd, 1994. Encompasses all the above executive orders. See how things are coming together? I'll get to this next. This is martial law. Excuse me. See? Martial law. National emergency. We'll get to that next. You won't like that either. But this is the truth. And that came about actually in 1979 with our backs to the wall. We didn't even notice it was coming. Okay, thanks for watching.